I want you to know something that happened inside a company I know very well. This owner had been in business for 11 years, good reputation, decent website. His vans looked professional enough. He was spending about $3,000 a month in Google ads, and he was getting consistent calls. Until he wasn't. Over about 8 months, the calls started slowing down. Then they slowed down more. And now he's competing for every single job against contractors he used to dismiss. Nothing changed in his market. His competitors didn't get better. His prices didn't go up. What changed was the way people find businesses and who shows up when they look. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to him, why it's about to happen to a lot more HVAC companies, and the one thing that makes you completely immune to it. Stay with me, because this is probably the most important thing I've talked about on this channel in a very long time. For those who don't know me, my name is Pete Ramsey. I've been in the HVAC world for over 40 years now, but here's something most people don't know about Pete. Before I ever touched an HVAC unit, I grew up working in an advertising company. It was owned by my grandfather and my father. That's what I was supposed to do. So marketing, branding, positioning, all that was part of my life from the very beginning. Then I went into the Army, and that's where I was trained in the HVAC-R field. So I came out of both sides of it. The marketing foundation I'd been building since I was young, and the technical background from the field in HVAC. When I started applying what I knew about marketing to what I knew about this industry, things started to click together in a way that was pretty eye-opening. I've been a technician, I've been a comfort advisor, a business owner, and now an identity brand strategist who works specifically with HVAC businesses. And that combination of backgrounds is exactly what makes what I'm about to show you different from anything you've probably heard from a marketing person who's never been under a house, never been in the attic, never held a flashlight in the middle of the night. So here's the problem. AI search is fundamentally changing who gets found and who gets recommended. When somebody used to search for an HVAC company, Google gave them a list of names. They'd click around, read some reviews, maybe watch a short video, and the best brand usually won. Now, people are asking AI assistants directly for recommendations. And the difference is AI doesn't give you a list. It gives you an answer. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three. And it's not basing that on who paid for the most ads. It's basing it on who has the clearest, most specific, most recognizable identity that it can actually describe and recommend with confidence. Now, the problem is if your business sounds like every other HVAC company, if your website talks about the same quality service, about honest pricing and family owned since whenever, AI has nothing to work with. It can't differentiate you from the next guy. And if it can't differentiate you, it cannot recommend you. Now, I want to be transparent with you here because I want this to be accurate. The shift doesn't happen overnight. AI is pulling data from what's been available for a while, your website, your reviews, what people are saying about you across multiple platforms. A brand new company, for example, even one with a great identity, is still building that data. But here's what I can tell you from what I've actually seen. Once a clear, specific identity gets established across enough platforms and touch points, it becomes very, very difficult for a competitor to take that ground away. The key is to start building it now, before your market gets sorted out. I have a client, Angel Juarez, who operates as Dr. Heat Pump in Las Vegas, who is actually outranking HVAC companies with massive advertising budgets for specific heat pump searches. Not because he's outspending them, but because he owns a specific position that those companies can't claim. And that identity is being recognized across multiple platforms. And that's the future of how this works. So here is what I have figured out working with owners like Angel and others. The businesses that AI can actually recommend and that customers remember when the name comes up, they all have one thing in common. They own a position. Not just HVAC or heating and air, that's the one everybody is fighting for. A position within that, a specific identity in their market that belongs to them and nobody else. So with Angel, we ask a different question than most marketing people ask. Instead of asking, how do we get more visibility? We ask, what can Angel own in the Las Vegas market that nobody else has claimed? And in his case, the answer was heat pumps. Las Vegas is one of the fastest growing heat pump markets in the country because of its climate, and nobody was positioning themselves as the specialist. We repositioned his entire business as Dr. Heat Pump. And because that identity is now being communicated consistently across his website, his social media, and other platforms, and not just his van and uniforms, the AI is picking up on it. It can describe him in one sentence, and that sentence is what gets the recommendation. That is what owning a position looks like in practice. Quick question. If your HVAC business had three things fully dialed in: pricing with precision accuracy, a step-by-step selling system that consistently converts, and a unique marketing position that attracts the right customers, how different would your business feel? For the first time, I'm hosting a live training event starting April 1st where we tackle all three together. You can learn more by scanning the QR code on the screen. I call this the HVAC Profit Trifecta because inside of this program, we focus on the three elements that lead to truly accurate pricing, more sales from the same opportunities without being salesy, and better customers choosing you instead of simply looking for another bid. Now, because the training's live and interactive, seating has to be limited. If you'd like to learn more, just scan the QR code on the screen. Let me show you the same principle in a completely different market. Rob Cook is a 66-year-old businessman operating near Yellowstone Park in Cody, Wyoming. He didn't come from HVAC originally. He came from another business background and had a successful business in another state and decided to build something new in the trades. And because he'd been in business before, he thought about this differently than most first-time HVAC business owners do. His market has bears, literally grizzly bears, Heart Mountain in the background, a community that takes a lot of pride in being rugged and capable. And nobody in his market had ever claimed the repair category. Every HVAC company out there was trying to push equipment replacement, but Rob understood something most owners miss. The first call a homeowner makes when their furnace stops working isn't to buy a new one, it's to fix the one they have. And whoever owns that first call owns the relationship. We built his entire brand around that insight. Repair Bear. If we can't fix it, nobody can. The mascot is a bear, specifically a grizzly bear. The van has Heart Mountain on it in the background. The brand is so specific to his market and his position that a competitor can't copy it without it being obvious. That's exactly what they're doing. Now, Repair Bear is a relatively new company, and it takes time for AI to collect enough data to make that consistent recommendation. That's just the reality of how it works. But here's the point. He is building the right foundation right now and is already seeing results within AI. And once a position like that gets established across enough platforms, across enough customer reviews, across enough consistent communication, it becomes very difficult to displace. You're building something that you're going to compound over time, not just a one-time marketing push. Dr. Heat Pump is farther down the road and is already seeing the results. Repair Bear is building towards them. Two different owners, two different stages, one principle: own a specific position and communicate it consistently everywhere. So how does a business actually find its position? This is where it gets interesting, because in my experience, there is no one-size-fits-all answer here. The right position is different for every owner in every market, and it comes out of a discovery process, not a formula. But let me give you some areas to look at, because this will help you start thinking about it. One area is what I call a product specialty. Maybe there's a specific technology your market is moving toward: heat pumps, solar powered, ductless, IAQ, ground source, geothermal, etc. And nobody in your area has planted a flag there yet. That is an opportunity. Take, for example, a company I'm currently working with, the Comfort Engineer in Vancouver. His entire brand is built around a very specific, structured, engineered approach to every service call and install he approaches. But a unique service approach doesn't have to be technical. Maybe it's a repair option for every budget. Maybe it's the most transparent pricing in the market, where the customer is actually in control of what they choose. Maybe it's a level of communication that nobody else in your area comes close to. The point is, if you do something that's genuinely different, that is something that we can name and build around. There are also areas like personal strengths and passions. And what I found is that when a business owner builds their position around something they genuinely care about, it comes across. Customers feel it. It's not forced. And then there's the competitive analysis of it. What are your competitors doing right now? What are they weak at? Where are the customers in your market who are genuinely underserved? Sometimes the best solution isn't the one that feels most obvious. It's the one that's sitting right there in the gap that everyone else is ignoring. I'm not going to tell you there are 5 categories and your answer must fit in one of them. It's more nuanced than that. What I will tell you is that the process of finding it, when you do it right, results in something that feels almost inevitable in hindsight, like it was always there, waiting to be named. The one question I cannot answer for you in a YouTube video is, what is your position? That answer lives in the intersection of your market, your competitors, your story, and your specific strengths. And I found it's different every single time. Getting it wrong is expensive. Getting it right changes everything, including how AI describes you when the next customer asks. So here's what I suggest. If what I've been talking about today has you thinking, and you're asking yourself, what's the thing I could own in my market that nobody else has, then the link below might be the next step. It's a free 15-minute brand positioning and clarity call. And in that conversation, I'll tell you honestly what I see in your business, whether there's a position worth building around, and what it would take to get there. If I don't see a clear opportunity, I'm going to tell you that too, because I'd rather have that conversation than waste your time. Now, if you're still not sure, perhaps that training promo that you saw in the middle of this video could be helpful. In that one, we're going to talk about how to improve your profit, how to do so through proper pricing, how to do so through proper sales, but we also talk specifically about this identity thing and how to message yourself in a unique way in your market. Either way, subscribe if you want more of this. I put this content out specifically for HVAC business owners who are serious about building something that's going to last. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.